Who's missing?
Kevin?
Kevin? Rick, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like a sinking feeling.
Oh, I see. You can only lift it if you're sitting in it. Oh, so you wouldn't poke
Are
yourself.
we down one, Janie?
Yeah, we're down.
Oh, man.
Sounds hot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, the time is 6:01. This meeting of the Fern Bluff Municipal Utility District Board of Directors has come to order. Roll call, all directors are present. Director Stemco, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Stemko. All right. Let's do parks first. Let's get that out of the way. Mr. Schmidt, would you like to tell us what's going on in our district?
Sure would.
I think we're good.
So, since I've last seen you, we didn't meet in December, so I haven't seen you guys since November. We've still been on twice a month maintenance services for the parks and the community center. That continues through February for the contract. Leaf cleanup still ongoing. We had a really warm, it was dry, but a warm fall, and that leaves a lot of leaves on the trees late in the season into the winter like this. They're red and orange, and they are beautiful. The downside, they slowly drop throughout the whole winter. So going every other week, we're still battling a lot of leaf cleanup there. So that's a good portion of our maintenance visits. Every other week when we hit the parks and the community center. The other thing we've been doing is trimming back all the perennials, the grasses, the roses. We completed that today. And what we've also been doing in the off week. So one week we'll do maintenance. The next week we've been pruning the canopies on all the trails throughout all the green belts. We've been lifting them up to 10 feet and hauling out all those branches. So next month in February, in the off weeks, we'll be doing granite trail repair, which is also part of the contract. We try and do those two things. If there's something that needs attention throughout the growing season, and say in July, we'll go handle that. But for the most part, we'll go through and do our big cleanups as far as the raising the canopies and the granite, doing all the granite repairs, and say the butterfly garden. There's really not a whole lot of repairs per se to be done there, but we'll go through and we'll top dress all those little trails that go through all the gardens, and there's just some areas that get granite regardless. Other than that, you have little washouts here and there throughout the trails, and we go through and patch all that up. So that'll be done in the off weeks for February. We should finish the trails. We might finish the canopies first week of February. So between the end of February, we'll get both of those items completed in the off weeks. The irrigation repairs we did the checks for January, but you guys have had so much construction with the playscapes going on in those parks. I've had the irrigation cut off there. So shouldn't be a whole lot of issues other than the repairs to, the construction repairs.
Yeah.
As far as like maintenance goes, I don't think there should be any issues there. So some of these parks are finishing up. I emailed Janie today. As soon as she gets well, she and I are going to take a tour and kind of fire up the irrigation and see what needs to be done in these parks that are completed. And there's some dirt work. There's some trenches. There's some large areas that don't have grass. So this isn't exactly the time of year to be throwing down new sod, but kind of get a game plan going for the 1st of March to go in and finish up what needs to be done behind the playscape crew. Green belts, raised canopies, already spoke about that. Upcoming items, finish the canopy works in the green belts over the trails, granite repairs and trails as needed, twice a month service visits through February. That's about it. This is kind of one of those months, even missing December. I mean, we're kind of going every other week. We're just cleaning up. We're not doing a whole lot of mowing right now. The grass is pretty much dormant. It's the leaves. The leaves are slowly dropping all winter. So that's pretty much your whole service visit's us running the backpack blowers and trimming the plants that needed to be trimmed up and, hauling out all that debris. And so that's basically what we've been doing since I saw you last. We finished up the mulch too. All the mulch is completed. I guess that wasn't done. We were just starting that when I saw you in November, but all that got completed. Did the annuals around the building. That week of cold weather kind of put them in shock, but they're starting to bounce back, getting some more flowers. But you'll get new flowers in March. And that's when all the chemicals in the chemical program and all the grass and turf, that's when that stuff picks up too. So, I'll talk about that next visit because that'll be February's visit when I'm kind of leading into March. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, prediction time. When are we getting the blue bonnets? And is it going to be a good season or not?
What do you mean? Are the blue bonnet going to be out?
Yeah.
Huh.
You have a prediction? Is it going to be a good season or not? What week?
There was 0 rain in the month of October. That's when they germinate. I'm not saying that you won't get blue bonnets anywhere, but I don't see it being a great season because we did not get 1 drop of rain in October. And if you go read up on blue bonnets, you seed them in late September, early October, and you get some rain or you irrigate them and, they germinate in October because they need 6 full months before they'll bloom the next year. Well, I went through and put down a ton of seeds in October. Didn't get an ounce of rain. So
okay.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't see it being a great year, but I don't want to be negative. There might be some areas that are beautiful, as you drive around Texas.
Right.
Around here, I don't, my gut tells me it won't be a great year just because of that, didn't get 1 drop of rain in October. So,
Okay.
We had a great January though.
yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. If the ones that came up on their own that have been there for a long time, those meadows that are just old, they probably will be great. But, if you went in and installed a brand new wildflower meadow and just let Mother Nature take over, I don't see it being a great year this year because you didn't get any water.
Okay.
Mm.
Fair enough.
All right.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Yep. See ya.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Well darn.
All right. Well, I see our auditor, Mr. Alman's here, so let's go ahead and jump to the audit. Thanks for coming.
Yes, I'm Don Allman, CPA. First, I would like to thank the board for once again choosing me to do the audit for Fern Bluff Mud. We appreciate the business. As a former resident, it's always fun to come back and see, how things have grown and changed. And since it's been 19 years now since I moved, it's quite a bit of change around here, but that's always good and interesting to see. And I do need to thank the staff here, of course. Everyone's great to work with. We mostly work with Hector and Janie and Debbie, and I used to always get to call Janie the Super Bowl MVP. Of course, now these last 2 years, we don't know. So I guess in a week or so, we'll know whether Janie's the Saquon Barkley or the Patrick Mahomes. We'll see. So yeah, without further ado,
Great looking packet, by the way.
thank you.
Very nice.
Move to page 5. No, yeah, 5. And yeah, if I fumble, I had carpal tunnel surgery about little over 2 weeks ago. So my fingers are still a little numb, so may not be able to turn pages quite as good as normal. So yeah, page 5, statement of net position. That's your balance sheet. So this is the balance sheet for Fern Bluff Mud. 24 and 23 there side by side. Your current and other assets, basically that's the checking accounts for Fern Bluff Mud and the investment accounts, and also the customer receivables for customer receivables for water, sewer, and sanitation, and also property tax. $7,437,874. That's up from $7,264,872. So up about $173,000. Your current assets, which is of course good. Even better, that is mostly cash. About 7.2 million of that 7.4 is all cash. So very, very strong cash position for Fern Bluff Mud. Your capital and non-current assets, that's basically going to be all of your depreciable assets, your improvements, your vehicles, but a large portion of that now, of course, all the park improvements that have gone on. $13,289,468, down slightly from the $13,500,000 501,667. You actually added 554,000 capital assets last year. Depreciation's up to 766,000. So quite a bit of depreciation going through Fern Bluff Mud. So again, that $212,000 decrease was just due to depreciation being a little bit more than what was added last year. So total assets $20,727,342. Or down slightly from the $20,766,539. Deferred outflows of resources as a pension number doesn't really affect the district directly. $225,000 up from $135,000. Current liabilities, that's mostly just accounts payable, and then your customer deposits for the water sewer services. $363,000, down quite a bit from the $568,000 in the prior year. So we're down $200,000 in your current liabilities, which is also good. Long-term liabilities, Fern Bluff Mud has no debt. All that is your net pension liability, which again, Fern Bluff would never be really responsible for unless your pension organization failed. $130,000 down from $142,000. Total liabilities $494,000, down from right at $711,000. So a good over $200,000 decrease in your liabilities, which of course is good. Deferred inflows is another part of the pension calculation that really affect the district directly. $417,000 up from $258,000. Then your net investment capital assets, that's kind of like the blue book value of your assets. It's your capital assets minus depreciation minus debt, which I have no debt. So it's the same as the number above, $13,289,468, down from the $13,501,000. So again, that's just kind of the net worth of all your capital assets. Restricted, of course, y'all have no debt, so there is no debt restrictions. The restrictions here is just funds set aside for park and capital improvements. And it's $317,747. Been that the last 2 years. Unrestricted, free and clear, that means money that can be spent however the board so chooses. $6,433,800, up from $6,113,432. So a nice $330,000 increase in your unrestricted position, which is a very, very strong number here for Fern Bluff. Total net position $20,041,000, up from the $19,932,000. So we're up about $108,000 on the year. Let's turn over to page 6. Towards the bottom, there's statement of activities. And again, we have 24 and 23 side by side. Basically, this is the income statement or profit and loss for Fern Bluff Mud. Property tax revenues at September 30, 2024 were $1,827,663, down very slightly from the $1,855,000. So we're down about $28,000 in property tax revenues, virtually the same. Water, wastewater, and garbage revenues, $2,499,388. Also, very slight decrease from the $2,553,000 in the prior year. So down about $54,000 there. Other income, $395,784, down from $424,631, so down just a little bit, $30,000 or so there. Total revenues, $4,722,835, down about $111,000 from the $4,833,314. Again, just pretty consistent revenue streams here for Fern Bluff Mud. Your water, wastewater, and garbage expenses were down $1,872,000. So down about $162,000 from the $2,034,000 in the prior year. Of course, that's good. You decreased your expenses more than the revenues decreased. Other income, other expenses, rather, mostly at your administrative, operating expenses, $1,976,416, virtually very close. $1,973,000, so just a slight $3,000 increase. Depreciation, I mentioned, was up $766,000. From $663,000, so your total expenses $4,614,666, down from the $4,671,133. So you're down about $56,000. Excess or deficiency, it is positive, which is net income. So the net income was $108,169, a little down from the $162,181. But as mentioned, though, $766,000 of those expenses is depreciation. So your overall cash flow increase was a lot more than that, as indicated by your $7.2 million cash and investment position, which is very, very good. That's all the numbers I've got. Any comments or questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
On one of the first pages. Where is it? I have it. Actually, I have it marked up in another page, but you actually have Travis County called out instead of Williamson.
Okay, where's that?
Yeah, where is it? And I was curious as to why. Pages just happen to be sticking together. It's like right within the first couple of pages. All right, come on. Oh, no wonder why I'm not looking at the wrong packet. Okay, so it's on page 1. Annual filing affidavit. It says State of Texas, County of Travis.
Okay.
I was wondering if that should be.
Actually, that's probably where this is filed, is in Travis County, I'll bet. Yeah, I mean, we
Is that a
can,
problem?
What like we can do, one, we can line out Travis for first of all, and then write Williamson. But what I typically would like to do is to have it be the county in which the document's actually signed and notarized.
yeah, because I TCEQ, I'll bet it's in Travis County.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
probably
Okay.
why, because I mean, it's probably been there for 15 years. So.
I don't know. It's the first
But
thing I
yeah,
noticed.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say let's check with Janie when she gets back and see, because that's been that way. Like I said, literally probably the whole time
It's
we've
possible.
done it. Yeah, it might need to be that, just because that might be where TCEQ is at. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
let's
That would make sense.
let's just check if that's if that
Okay.
does need to be changed or not.
and if so, remind me next year when I bring it up again.
No worries. Yeah.
A short memory.
1, 2, 3.
Um,
It is the 6th word of the.
yeah. I had a couple other questions, but it was really within the numbers. Let's see if I have them marked off. I guess this was probably more of a question for Janie, who's not here, but I think on one of these charts, you talk about legal expenses. And I was wondering if that included the various litigations that happened last year, or if that's just the retainer.
It'd be all legal expenses that were spent during the fiscal year 20. From 10/1/23 to 9/30/24.
I kind of figured that, but I
Yeah.
figured it's worth it. And then the other one was security services. Is that our hiring of the sheriffs, or is that something else?
Yeah, that's kind of like the night watch.
Okay.
type of thing.
The night watch. I love it. Okay. Well, that's all the questions I had.
Is there any kind of changes to the government accounting standards that are going to affect anything that you report on in the future? Anything coming down the pike? Or?
Thankfully, y'all don't have leases. Leases have changed completely to where, I'm definitely hoping to speed up my retirement so I don't have to, deal with too many more. But yeah, they've completely changed the way you account for leases. Like I said, thankfully, y'all don't have any leases. Otherwise, that would add a lot of a few more headaches to that. But
Would that include on motor vehicles, leases on
Yes.
motor?
oh, I mean, everything. And also even on both sides, to where if you're the lessor or the lessee, there's a whole, they completely changed the
Wow.
way, and last year was the first year that went into effect. So,
Any advice on anything we can do better?
no, like I said, no, y'all are, kind of a well-oiled machine that keeps on running. And, like I said, I know y'all aren't really expanding, a whole lot. You just kind of, maintaining and improving the properties you already have. So doing very well.
That's good to know. Well, thank you, Mr. Ullman.
Well, so water is apparently a good business though, because my two biggest clients are water districts that are like 5 times the size of y'all,
Wow.
and they're way out in the country. So rural water districts, especially.
Yeah.
So because they're like 100 million assets, 50 million revenue.
Wow.
So so definitely water's business to be in, I guess.
Liquid gold.
Well, that's drinkable.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
y'all.
Thanks.
Outstanding work. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Don.
All right, let's backtrack a little bit. Very good. I've been told we need a vote to approve the audit report. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Director Smith, second by Director Barnes. All in favor? All right, carries unanimously, 5-0. The audit is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, backtracking. Citizens communications. Open the floor now for citizen communications. We have no citizens to speak with us.
Not today.
So citizen communication is closed. All right. Consent agenda. Mr. Operator, is there anything we need to remove from the consent agenda?
No, just a quick note. There is a check for the amount of $79,000 and change. That was paid or will be paid to our contractor who did our manhole rehab work.
Okay.
95% of that, or a little bit more than that, is going to be funded by Brushy Creek Mud. So the muds,
But we're writing the check.
we're writing the check.
Okay.
They will reimburse us. We have an agreement with them. So, yeah, big check, but the amount that we'll be responsible for is around the $4,000 range. So just want to give you a heads up.
a hole in the ground.
Oh yeah, yeah. But,
Sorry.
I mean, they did some good work. I mean, those manholes they were in bad condition.
Yeah, y'all did major inspection, right? To
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Glad we're taking care of that. All right. So nothing to remove from the consent agenda then.
No, sir.
So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Director
Second.
Horton, second by Director Stemko. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for recognizing my senior moment, Director Horton.
I've had senior moments too. That's quite all right, George.
Only getting worse. Huh?
All right, let's do the annual review of the investment policy. Are there any changes this year?
No, Mr. President, and Mrs. Miller has not communicated that she wanted to amend anything or change your list of brokers. And Hector, anything from your side?
No, sir.
So with that said, just a reminder, this is our annual review period. We typically do it nice and early, beginning of the year, so you can have this box checked. But this is just an annual routine compliance matter, and unless there's any changes, just need a motion to approve the resolution adopting the investment policy for this year.
I will so move that we make that motion.
I will so
Motion by
second.
Director Sabatino, seconded by Smith. All in favor? All right, the annual review of the investment policy is concluded and approved. Now we need to do the annual review of the identity theft prevention program.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, directors, just a reminder, this is another annual compliance review. This is actually out of federal statute from the Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act of 2003 and subsequent rulemaking that came down from the Federal Trade Commission. And it basically stipulates that any kind of debtors are required, or creditors, excuse me, are required to adopt red flag rules. And essentially that means any kind of implement systems in which anytime you had a alert that there was potential fraud or an attempt to access your any kind of financial accounts, a red flag would be set off electronically, at which point you have a substantial matter to report, a red flag to report. Janie is not advised of any red flags this year. Hector, are you aware of any?
No changes.
So, okay. So with that said, this is just a plug and play, and we're looking for a motion to approve the identity theft prevention program for Fern Bluff for the year of 2025.
All right, motion by Director Horton, second by Director Smith. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
right.
The identity theft prevention program is approved.
Thank you, directors.
All right, let's jump to the general manager and operations report. Mr. Operator, what do you have for us?
The report is in your packet. I actually, kind of scribbled out Janie's name, put my own, just so I'm not plagiarizing or anything. But parks, I don't know if we haven't discussed anything on parks, but Veterans Park is complete. I think it was on the verge of being complete last meeting. Since then, Cheatham Park has been complete, and I put in there substantially complete. I mean, there might be some small stuff, but all the equipment is in, and kids are actually starting to play on them. And Brightwater Park is currently they just finished demo, so now they're building up the base for where the equipment's going to go in. So kind of looking forward to that. We've already had a light pole hit. So if you look at it in Brightwater, it's kind of just not looking too happy. But fortunately,
By the crew.
yes,
Okay, all right.
yeah, they're just kind of dropping off their mulch or base or whatever it is. But fortunately, we have some pretty good cameras focused on the driveway, and we identified the vehicle that did it. Spoke to the contractor, and he's like, "Okay, we're responsible." So that worked out pretty good. It's always kind of nice when you can send a vendor or somebody a picture of a vehicle or a person or whatever. So
Their vehicle.
yeah. So that worked out pretty good. Operations wise, I know we had discussed this, and I'm always harping on spare parts and stuff like that. Last month we had a situation where PEC had I'm guessing a spike. It took out one of our motors or one of our motor protectors. So the protector did its job, but it died in the process. So we just opened our handy dandy spare parts box, got the spare part installed. We were back same day, or I'm guessing it happened at night. So next day, we're back and running, ordered another spare part, put in the box, and so far so good. So that the plan is, kind of worked out pretty good. Let's see. As you can see, we've got some little upgrades. We're doing maintenance around the building. Got some lighting. So we're getting there slowly. We're not complete yet. We still need to do some staining on the front patio, doing some lighting and stuff. But yeah, we've got some new fans, new lighting, pressure washing. We're looking for contractors for roofing. Our rain gutters are horrible, so we're looking at doing some upgrades or some repairs to that, or replacement more than a repair. But that's about it. Other than Wyoming Springs, they're going at it full blast. We had one resident. He called us saying that we had a branch. It's like, man, this tree's gonna kill my house. It's just, if it falls, it's gonna land in my living room. So we went out there, and it kind of turned out that the tree was fine, but he was adding concrete to some of the holes in there. And so we took care of the branch, but we identified that he was using the green belt for private purposes, if you will. So yeah, it wasn't a good call, because now we're kind of spanked him a little bit, saying, hey, you can't be using mud property to extend your backyard or anything. So he was compliant. He was good about it, but probably would have been better off if he'd not called. But
He got to limit himself and kept quiet.
but
It got handled as a smaller problem than maybe it could have been if he had continued to go unchecked. So,
absolutely. But yeah, you could see he was actually putting some stones, and kind of, it's like it was starting to take shape where it's like, oh, I want this tree down so I can kind of spread out a little bit more. And yeah, didn't work out too well for him. But
That pesky branch.
So were there any incidents that we know of from the freeze?
no, operationally, not at all. I don't think we received very many calls at all, if any. So I know I didn't get called out, so that was kind of nice. But not that.
I know I'm not looking forward to my next water bill though,
Oh, yeah,
having had to drip and
yeah.
whatnot.
Oh, geez. And you have that new meter that measures down to the. Sorry, Kevin.
It's okay, I disconnected it. Just kidding.
I know. We would know.
So we replaced the fashion glass in the front of the building before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And Have we heard any projected completion dates for Wyoming Springs?
We have not. I mean, they mentioned they wanted to finish it in a very,
No problem. I won't.
yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah. No,
Do you
I
have
don't have any
Jen's voice?
definitive dates. I mean, the one they threw out, I think I just kind of dismissed it because it was like there is no way they're going to finish, in a year and a half or something like that. So, but yeah, I'll double back on that, and if I can get a better date for you or have an idea, I'll pass it along. So
12 years ago, they were guesstimating about 18 months to 24, something like that.
yeah,
I mean,
I think the
Yeah.
long time ago.
previous issue of the impact had it in there, but I don't remember if they had a completion date on it.
if I were
It
me,
should be on their website,
I try to be
I guess.
conservative and just kind of
Yeah, just not answer the question.
give me a little more time.
Have we started, and maybe this, I don't know if it's a GM and operator or if it's a parks question. Have we started thinking about the tennis court replacement? Or is that just kind of
No, we
on
have.
the list?
We're supposed to have a meeting with a tennis contractor to
Okay.
get some pricing on it. So yeah, it hadn't died. We're working on it.
Because I've got a neighbor that I've been talking to who is big into the tennis scene. And
Mhm.
so she gave me the name of somebody to contact too. So
We'll
send
take
that-
any bidder.
I'll
you
send
can
that
get.
on to you.
Yeah, we could use the bids, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think the one vendor we're meeting with here pretty soon is part of the buy board process or whatever. So, but yeah, we're still looking for options on that. One thing I will ask the committee though, tennis and pickleball.
Mhm.
And I still don't know pickleball rules, setups or whatever, but do we want to do anything
So-
concerning pickleball?
So here's what we did in Oak Brook. We took our tennis court and we striped it for pickleball. So we have 2 pickleball courts on either side of the tennis net.
Mhm.
And we make the residents, they have to bring their own nets, which are portable, and their own pickleball stuff. So all I would suggest is when you go to have the tennis courts done, have them striped for both tennis and pickleball at the same time. All right. Number one, it'll be probably cheaper for you, and then you
Oh, yeah.
covered it. And you just tell residents if they want to play pickleball, bring your stuff.
Gotcha.
So many people enjoy it now, it makes sense.
You can play it on half court. It can be played on half a court.
Yeah, actually, we did stripe our half-court basketball court with pickleball as well. So if the other 2 are busy, and nobody's on the basketball court playing basketball, the pickleballers can take over.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, and that's great. I think we had discussed something to that effect, but right now on the horizon we have Olson Meadows. I think is next on the agenda for parks rehab. So yeah, once we come back to Fern Bluff, I mean, hopefully we'll have all the tennis court stuff. But if there's any ideas that you might have on tennis courts, basketball, the open field behind the pavilion at Fern Bluff.
You got a lot of room at the Olsen Meadows. You could put a tennis court in there, compete with the Brushy Creek one.
Oh yeah. So anyway, any ideas would be greatly appreciated.
Well, that's the guidance I can give you at this time.
Gotcha.
And in terms of folks who did our tennis court, if you're interested, I can dig up who the vendor was that we used in Oak Brook and pass it along.
Definitely wouldn't hurt. So thank you.
Let me see what I can find.
Thank you. But other than that, that's all I have. Operationally, we're doing pretty good. So that's really all I have for now.
All right, fair enough. Roads Committee, we talked a little bit about Wyoming Springs or anything else to mention for Roads Committee? I will note, I did go down to Harryman the other day and they had the electronic signs that said expect delays. And I saw where they're building the bridge, like it's all cleared on the other side. So, yeah, it looks like they're gonna move quick.
Yeah, they've got the pilings on already for the bridge, for a good portion of the bridge on the even north side of the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. it wouldn't be surprising to me if they were done by in the summer, the way they're pulling through it.
Wow.
But we'll
This
see. I mean, depends on the commitment to the schedule and so forth and weather. But things go well, it can happen pretty quickly. The amount of crew space they have.
This is really sad, but I've just been recently gone down here, man. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Must have been at night.
Maybe. Just before you get to Salt Ridge, if you're eastbound.
Yeah.
Just
I
forget to
just
turn into
don't
Salt Ridge.
remember. Yeah, I just don't remember.
I was going westbound, and maybe easier to see westbound, honestly. So if you're going eastbound, you might not be able to see it.
Maybe it's pretty clear space across the creek there. Yeah.
Well, it's been a few weeks since I went
Yeah.
through there, so I guess I'll have to go down there just to see.
I went down this week, so I'm assuming they did it fairly recently.
We have an alternating vehicle if you guys want to take a ride and go down the path. We're happy to do that. So.
Maybe when it warms up a little.
Yeah.
Next week.
All right, that's it for roads. Director Barnes, we have anything for budget committee?
No, nothing specific, except if you look at the P&L, if you look at the check register, there were a lot of large expenses from the capital outlay report. Of course, those all went to the parks, which I drive by Veterans Park every day, and it is a very nice looking park. Haven't made it to Cheatham yet, which I'm surprised because it's right over there by where I live. I guess tomorrow morning, me and the dog will walk over there. So, but nothing real big as far as any other major expenses. Everything just kind of on the routine.
Okay.
Got some very nice holes in the ground at Brightwater Park. Yeah, I was checked it before I came over today. Big hole. Yeah. Nice.
It was pretty amazing to watch them through the rain and they just, it's better than football.
Especially those light poles don't get in the way. They can really move. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Sorry.
They are a good crew to work with. I mean, they're efficient. We work well together. I'm practicing my Spanish a little bit more, but it still works.
There you go. Excellent. All right. District Community Center Committee, anything to report?
No.
Okay.
Not other than what's on the, in the packet. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some numbers in the packet.
Yeah.
Yeah, rental.
Suburbs.
Deed Restriction Committee, Director Horton, do we have anything?
Quiet months.
I'll take quiet. Down.
Now, I've got a question for you gentlemen real quick. So I know that one of the litigation is concerning a car cover. There's been another car cover on the same road, basically right there at the corner of Klamath Falls and Priest River. Is that popping up on the reports? Is that
I think that's a Sage question, so we can get with them.
okay?
I haven't gotten an alert from Sage, so that hasn't risen our level yet.
I mean, it's been there for a while, and
Yeah,
So-
so maybe something.
I should have that answer for you. Unfortunately, I don't. This was the first time in over 13 years that I've put together a packet. So my apologies. It was a little stressful, but yeah, we can circle back and get that to you. So.
All right. Security Committee, Director Barnes, do we have anything?
we do not, except for things have been safe and quiet to the best of my knowledge.
I've been actually called the sheriff's out last week before. We got a lot of kids now fishing in the ponds and around Oak Brook. And I
You what?
have kids fishing in the ponds in Oak Brook, despite the fact that I've gone out and told them, hey, no fishing here, go down to the creek, right? And they're standing right by the no fishing sign, by the way, And I'm both. So I called the sheriff out, but he never came. He never came. And then another time I told Janie that they were there, and she drove out and she chastised them. A little bit. Told them they shouldn't be fishing there, that they should move on. But I don't know. I mean, if we can get them to come by a little more often especially on weekends when the kids are out of school, it would probably be helpful.
Okay.
So,
I've heard of an incident with kids climbing on the roof of Fern Bluff Elementary shooting off fireworks. So we may be in a position where maybe we need to ask for increased hours on our deputy patrols. So maybe we can put that on next month's agenda to modify the hours. We should at least talk about it.
yeah,
Now, as far as them climbing up on the school, is that a district thing, or would that fall under the Round Rock ISD
I'd
police?
expect an ISD security issue.
Yeah, that's Round Rock ISD police, but it's just, but there's a park, we have a park right next to there.
Mhm.
So we just need to make sure, I haven't heard of anything going on in that park up there. Olson Meadow, I've heard of an incident, but I haven't been able to verify it. So,
It's verified.
When
It
is
is
this
verified?
happening?
okay.
Chicken bones and
Is this
trash
like-
and stuff. So, yeah.
where's
For
this?
January
Also,
1st, or is
for
this like all the time?
No, chicken
The-
bones and big old party.
Oh, yeah,
The school incident,
Yeah.
it's within the last 2 months.
I called Janie
Oh.
on that one. too.
So, okay,
One-
not
one-time
a
event
repeat
thing.
pattern.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, and then our operations manager was talking about in Olson Meadows, we had a group of people, I'm not sure how large, who were
Very large.
very large.
They were playing. They came playing baseball in uniforms, and they were had food and beer and all the other stuff, and they were making a racket. One of my neighbors down the road from down the cul-de-sac on Crescent Heights complained a few times. This was back in the summer. That they recently, 2 weeks ago, or I think it was, they came back out. I don't know if it was the same group or a different group, but they're abusing the park,
And they're leaving animal debris in the
and they're leaving.
in the park, is what my understanding. So, so anyway, let's for next month's agenda, let's make note to talk about modifying the hours on the patrols.
Yeah, and especially if we can get them to come out on a midday on a Saturday or Sunday to watch out for these.
Yeah, we can try and
Yeah.
get a handle on when they're coming, when we need, what hours we want more coverage, maybe.
Well, they were there until dusk last time. Wow. Yeah. So they were, even my neighbor right across the street from me, whose bedroom is kind of in, even though it's not in direct line of sight, it's just up the road. And she complained to me about, hey, these guys are really loud. Right? They have loud music going on. And like I said, I called Janie up. She broke them up, and it was just about dusk. They were just about ready to go anyway.
Okay. All right. I think that's it for the security committee then. Director Smith, communications. Do you have anything?
I think what we need to do is put out a quarterly this quarter, and maybe right after late February. Is it February when the wastewater monitoring ends?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll use that as a catalyst for putting out something. And maybe we put out something about if people see large groups that don't belong in the parks, they should let us, either call the sheriffs or let us know through some number. I don't know if it's Janie or somebody else that they need to call, but or maybe it's an email, but emails don't always work in a timely fashion.
Right.
So I guess those are the two things I'm thinking of. If anybody else has any other additional,
And just a plug for communications, we do have our one number, response number. So, if there's a resident out there that has a question, comment, concern, whatever.
okay, so that would be the one we'd want to
Yes, sir. Yep.
articulate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if
Yeah,
we have any,
that's for parks, that's for water leaks,
right, okay.
crazy kids or whatever. So, yeah.
Crazy kids, pond fishers.
Yeah.
Pond fishing,
Yes.
Insurance relay leads.
Right.
or I know there's been also talk about I guess there's a fire hydrant on the end of Morgan Hill in the cul-de-sac that keeps going off regularly.
Yes.
Is that something that's planned?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We flush that area because it's the furthest
From
point
From the pump station.
for the pump station. So if we don't keep up the chlorine residual via flushing, then we'll go under the state mandated level. And if we do that, then we'd have to put out a boil water notice and egg on my face, and it just, you know,
I don't
I'd
know.
rather flush than
Yeah, no, I hear you.
be safe.
I kind of figured it was something like that.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know. I think it was a Facebook. It was either Facebook or on our town square. I can't remember, but I think I recommended that they get in touch with Jane.
Right.
I just don't know if they actually did or not. So maybe that's something we reiterate, you know, or at least point to the website that has the hydrant flushing.
Right. So what makes it interesting is the water that we buy from Round Rock comes in from this metering station right at the corner and right at Park Valley at Veterans Park. So from those 2 points all the way to Oak Brook, that chlorine residual comes down. So we're actually racking our brains. We're chasing it. I mean, because now I've recommended we're going to start mapping, our chlorine residuals and, where that water's going. And if we have a valve that's closed or that needs to be closed or whatever, we're looking at optimizing our distribution system. So it's been pretty good, but there's always room for improvement. So we're working on that. But yeah, flushing, unfortunately, that's something that, we really don't have any choice. If the chlorine residuals are coming down, then,
I think what happened is I pointed the resident who put it on Facebook to the website. But I'm pretty sure the website doesn't specifically talk about that one hydrant that gets flushed regularly.
Right. Yeah. We actually, we purchased one. It was about $2,700. Then we started building our own. So now we have multiple flushing units in strategic locations to, try to address the falling chlorine residuals. But yeah, we have stickers, we have our phone number on them. So, if somebody walks by, they can see our phone number, and it specifically says, flushing. It's a flushing unit from Fern Bluff Mud. So,
Cool.
Yeah, and we'll welcome phone calls.
Okay.
The
Well,
more I
I'm
speak to people
smarter now
about
too. I might go back to that entry if I can find and reiterate that particular one is special.
Right.
You live in a special cul-de-sac.
special cul-de-sac. So.
Sounds
I
like
got
that's the price of being a superior water district.
That's right.
I actually haven't even thought about what I would do or feel if we had a failure, chlorine residual, somebody gets sick because of the water quality or whatever. For me personally, and I know Jeremiah is the same way. I mean, that's a big issue. I mean, there's been some folks that have their licenses revoked for, not doing their job and keeping the public safe. So, I mean, it's a big deal for us. I actually, years ago, actually had to dump the water tower. And it was ugly for a while. I mean, it was slow and steady, but yeah, there were some folks that they even put a little pump so they can get water in their grass. But yeah, that the tower lost its residual, and there was no way that I was going to send that water out to our public. I mean, that's not something we'll do. Not to mention, I don't want to land in a jail cell for getting people sick or whatever.
Yeah,
So.
right.
I can remember when Brushy Creek had to do boil notices for cryptosporidia or whatever. And it's like, you don't want
Yeah.
anything like that to happen.
That scares the fire out of me.
Yeah.
I was thinking, depending on how much we have on the newsletter, I was also thinking about reiterating, water softener maintenance,
Yes.
right? Because if it's not maintained properly, it'll what's the word I'm looking for? Impact the flow,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Or, i.e. water pressure.
We get a lot of those calls, but yeah,
I know.
good idea.
I know we had that video at one time, but you guys took it down because of the bad actor.
Changing personnel.
Okay, so those are the four things I'm thinking of: the hydrant, flushing, end of water averaging, wastewater averaging, the crowds in the parks, and water softener maintenance. If anybody has anything else we should add, let me know. I'll share this with Janie too. She might come up with something or tell me not to do something. But, you know. That's my report. I'm sticking to it.
All right. Fabulous. Attorney's report. What do we have?
Just briefly, Mr. President, the trial on the Malpani case was held on December 17th. We did prevail. The district prevailed on that matter. Much to my chagrin, the court did not award attorney's fees. Obviously, I strongly disagree with the decision on that aspect of it, but I am glad that we were able to dispose of the case in a favorable manner. And I have no other updates to report, Mr. President.
Count that as good news.
Yes, sir.
Love to hear it. Next meeting date. What do we have?
February 25th, Mr. President.
February 25th. Everyone take note. All right. Hope everyone's good for that date. Future agenda items. Let's make a note to talk about seeing if we can modify the number of hours on the security contract with the sheriff's department, sheriff's office. Can't think of anything else.
Modify the hours or redirect?
Both. Yeah, actually, that also.
Okay.
See if we
I
need
just
to
was,
redirect according to the contract.
okay.
Redirect coverage times in areas. Thank you.
So next month, I think we'll be talking about Olson Meadows Park and moving forward with that. So hopefully the committee has already
Yes.
taken a look at it. So
Do we think we'll start demo by next month? By next?
no.
meeting?
I mean, we need to get the board to approve it.
Oh, okay.
We
The final package. Okay.
yeah, that was something I thought we were going to try to get it in this meeting, but
And that's a buy board project, right? Or no? Do we get bids?
yes, it actually is a buy board.
That was my recollection.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Did we blow by 6A or did I just miss it?
It's on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, consent agenda. We approved it. Nothing came off it.
All right. Good. Just me.
We've covered future agenda items. Do I have a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Director
Second.
Barnes. Second, audibly by
Speak up,
Mr.
y'all.
Director Horton.
I was jumping ahead too.
All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. The time is 6:54 and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good job.
All right, Mr. President, we've got several here for you. This one is going to be for my notary requirements. Signature right there. I put the office here as a.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's